Hello and welcome to the Next Play podcast, a gaming and pop culture podcast brought to you by the team behind Next Play Australia. I'm your host Jamie, and joining me today is Brad
Hello.
and Berto.
Hello.
We got a bunch in store for this episode. We'll be discussing our review of Elden Ring Nightreign and Nice Day for Fishing, as well as a lot of news, including the Grand Theft Auto 6 news. But first, as we always do, we will be starting with what we have been playing. Brad, would you like to start us off?
Yeah. I finished Claire Obscure Expedition 33. Obviously not going to say anything because I know Birdo's just started it, and Jamie, you now own the game, so
I do,
um
yes.
uh really good. Definitely my game of the year so far. I say so far, but I don't think anything's gonna trump it. Um but yeah, very, very happy and satisfied. I would say probably at least in my top 5 games of all time. Um,
Huge
and
game.
yeah, if you want to watch me play it, my full playthrough is on YouTube, so go check that out. Otherwise, I have been playing more Final Fantasy IX for the YouTubes, and of course, Elden Ring Nightreign, which I'll talk about shortly.
Alrighty, when I'm doing my playthrough, if I ever get stuck, I will go and watch your walkthroughs. Make sure everyone go watch those.
And watch me embarrass myself.
It will make me feel better about my playthrough. We'll see.
True. Yes, it will.
For myself, nice day for fishing, which I will talk about a little bit later on. Otherwise, the only game I've found some time to play over the last couple of days was I went back to Little Nightmares 2. I'm, I think, in the fourth chapter. Um, we got past the mannequin section last night. Not sure if anyone's
Yeah,
played it.
yeah.
Man, the controls during that were doing my head in because I'm playing it on the controller and you have to like point your flashlight at
Mm.
the mannequins. It's like the sort of if you don't have a light on them, they will come up and start attacking you. And I was getting so annoyed. I could not run and do it's like patting your head and rubbing your stomach at the same time, some of these controls. Um I am enjoying it though. The atmosphere is great. I love the first one. I think so far I'm probably preferring the first one over Little Nightmares 2, but we've still got I think there's 5 chapters overall, so I'm closing
Mm.
in. Hopefully, have it finished by the next podcast. Berto, what have you been playing?
So I completed blueprints. Um, I need to find out that it's only an initial completing. There's more after that. I'm not gonna do more. I decided to YouTube it. To be honest, I just don't have the brain capacity to keep going. Not that it was hard. It's just that I'm very good at being lazy once I've completed something. Um, I have started Expedition 33. I'm probably, I think from the save file, around 5 hours in. Um, it's really good. It's very good. It's giving me the same feelings that I had with Blueprints, where I was quite obsessed with it. It's all I want to play. When I go to work, I just want to come home and give it a go. But I have life, obviously, and commitments and responsibilities. But it's. I read somewhere, someone made a comment. It was really funny. It's like Persona 5 with extra steps. It's really, really, really fun. And the stories hooked me. The acting, usually I don't really care much about acting or like voice acting or anything like that, but I think it's done so well. It's unfathomable to me that it's made by 30 people or 33 people or whatever it was. Um, yeah, I'm so impressed by this game. It's not even funny. And
and it
I
and
have
it
no idea.
only gets better from the point you're at too. It only
So I've
gets
heard.
better. Mm.
Every single person I put her on my story. Legitimately, the amount of like, get ready, or be prepared. I'm like, what am I being prepared for? Like, what's gonna happen? But no,
Lots.
very good, very very good.
I'm so keen to hop in. My physical copy, if you follow me on Instagram, JamieX66, that finally arrived. I had my pre-order for the second batch of physical copies, and that arrived just a couple of days ago. So you'll definitely hear my thoughts on the next podcast. I'm super excited. Now that we've done talking about what we have been playing, big shout out to a bunch of reviews because it's been a while since we've done one of these. You can have it over the website to find Nate, who has reviewed Skin Deep and Days Gone Remastered. Mario reviewed Roadcraft, Onimusha 2, Samurai's Destiny, and the Oblivion Remaster. And Berto has published his review for Xenoblade Chronicles X Definitive Edition after about 6 years. And I also reviewed the Precinct as well. So you head over and read all of those over on next-play.com.au. But first, now we are going to hop into the review of Elden Ring Nightreign. Brad has been all over this, so I'm very interested to hear your thoughts on this.
Yes, the main course, Elden Ring Nightreign. So we have spoken a little bit about Nightreign when I played the network test. I think that was like 3 months ago now. I guess the core experience I got from the network test was quite similar to what this full game is, with a little few extra sprinkles. So if you don't know what Elden Ring Nightreign is, it is an online PvE co-op action-adventure game with elements of the roguelike and battle royale genres. And it is developed by From Software, the same studio that have developed Elden Ring, of course, Bloodborne, Demon's Souls, all those goodies. It is not directed by, I forgot his name. The guy that directed Elden Ring did not return for Nightreign. But yeah, at its
Miyazaki?
core, yes, sorry, yeah, Miyazaki. This game is very like, it plays exactly like Elden Ring. Like, the foundations of Elden Ring are there. The combat is the same. Movement, the items, familiar bosses will pop up. But before I kind of get into all that, I guess I'll explain the gameplay loop that is in Nightreign. So you must survive a 3-day expedition in Limveld to prevent the land from being encumbered by Night's Tide, a storm ring of deathly rain and blue flame conjured by a Night Lord. So during each expedition, it's kind of like Fortnite, where there's a ring that just closes in on a certain area of the map. And obviously, if you are outside that ring, you get damaged and eventually die. So during each of the 3 days, Nightfarers are encouraged to farm for resources like weapons, talismans, usable items, and most importantly, levels. On night 1 and 2, your brute will be tested against a random boss. I think there is some kind of like pattern to which bosses appear depending on what expedition you choose. But for the most part, it does feel a bit randomized. Sometimes you can be unlucky and just fight the same boss on night 1, 2 expeditions in a row, but that didn't really happen too much with me. And yeah, so it's the farming on day 1 and 2. Once you beat the boss on night 2, you then go to day 3, where you face off against the Night Lord. So there's 8 Night Lords, which you can choose before starting the expedition. So you can matchmake to face off against a certain Night Lord. It's not a random Night Lord. You choose which one is at the end of your expedition. The first Night Lord, I'm not going to talk too much about the actual Night Lords because like it's just cool getting that surprise at the end of the expedition. But the first Night Lord is like the first one you have to beat before it opens up and kind of starts unlocking random ones that you can select like out of order. It's not like you do each in order. You can unlock, like, beat the first one and then go from there and choose whichever you see fit, which is great because there are definitely some Night Lords that are ridiculously hard that you might want to skip and come back later once you maybe obtain certain items that will help you. But overall, there is an organic flow to the 3 days of the expedition. And after a while, you do get into a rhythm with it, particularly if you are playing with like the same two people each time. You kind of get this like synergy and you kind of like almost not read each other's thoughts, but you kind of like know what path you need to take in a sense. So there are something different about Elden Ring Nightreign is you can't really build your character like you could in Elden Ring. There are 8 pre-built characters which are called Nightfarers, and they cover quite a diverse range of character builds that you can create in Elden Ring. Like there's an archer, a mage called Recluse, there's like an assassin, a guy that just parries everything, and my favorite, which I spent the most of my time with, was the Guardian, who uses he's like this big bird thing with a giant shield and a halberd, very tanky, very like for the boys, like he will take hits, and yeah, very fun. Each Nightfarer has 3 abilities, so a passive ability, a, I guess, primary ability, and an ultimate ability. Obviously, the ultimate ability is probably the most useful, but has a longer cooldown compared to the primary ability. I did say I spent most of my time with the Guardian Nightfarer, but I have like played a few of the other Nightfarers, and they're all like really fun to use. And just during my time with it so far, I have found that there's a good equal mix of what players are choosing to use. Now, I don't know if that was just because I was playing with other people that were reviewing it who just wanted to test other Nightfarers, or if it was just who they preferred to use. But generally with games like these, like I know I tend to like stick with like 1 or 2 characters and then like become super comfortable with them and don't try anyone else. That's basically what I did with Guardian. Though I did use the Archer quite a bit, and yeah, he's very good because I don't like getting too close and personal with the enemies unless I have a lot of health. But yeah, as I said, the combat is like literally identical to Elden Ring. It plays the same. It still feels as responsive as ever and just as unforgiving in the original game, if not more, through RNG. The RNG factor really does you can't really achieve your dream build every time you go on an expedition because it is random which weapons you come across. But despite each Nightfarer kind of being adept with certain weapon types, there aren't any limitations. So like I could be a mage and equip a halberd. I could yeah, you can pick up anything you find. It's not like you are locked into a certain I guess whatever the word is. Like you're not locked into what character you're playing type of thing, although it is obviously advantageous to try and stick to what they're best at, because I'm guessing their base stats are more based on that play style. Back to the Night Lords, they are all new bosses. All the bosses during like the first 2 days are taken from Elden Ring and previous From Software games. But the Night Lords themselves are all brand new, all fantastically designed. Like I can't say how much I really enjoyed the Night Lords. They are epic. Obviously, big epic orchestral music accompanies the boss battles as well, which really just make the fight more tense than it already needs to be. It is ridiculous. And I guess for those that think, oh, there's three players, like it's got to be way easier than Elden Ring. It isn't. It is hard. It is very, very hard. The It feels like these new bosses in particular, and even maybe some of the old ones, are designed with the fact that there's going to be 3 people fighting it, rather than like just the one person that are typically in From Software games. But yeah, they are incredible. I guess the only frustration is it does take around an hour to the whole expedition and get to the end. Possibly more, depending how long you take to beat the bosses, as there's no time limit on the boss battles. The Ring of Fire just stops at the boss battle, and it doesn't close in while you're fighting. It just stops there and waits for you to die or to be victorious. As for like the map itself, there are definitely familiar like point of interests. Like sites of grace are literally everywhere. They are, I guess, really generous with the sites of grace, which are used to replenish your health, your FP, cure ailments, and allow Nightfarers to level up using runes. There are other key locations in Lemveld which you can explore, including churches, which give you additional flasks, and smaller camps, caves, and forts that provide early game access to fight lower level enemies to, I guess, level up a bit quicker, rather than spending half a day trying to beat a boss that you're not really higher enough level for. And then there's more challenging locations that give you like a risk reward type situation, like the castle and Everjails. Each greater enemy or like boss that you defeat drops a reward cache, where you can select one of 3 powers. So sometimes it'll be 3 different weapons, sometimes it'll be like 2 weapons and like a passive ability, sometimes it'll only be passive abilities, but these are like permanent. They're not like the passive abilities you can equip are permanent. They don't take up any space in your inventory or anything. It's just a permanent buff that you get till the end of the expedition. With the map itself, they do vary it quite a lot. There are world events that can occur upon completion of an expedition, which alter the shape of Limveld, including a scorching lava crater, a large mountaintop engulfed in a snowstorm, all those types of things. And these new areas of the map, with the world events, contain really, really like unique rewards that will give you a massive advantage going into the fight with the Night Lord. I did love this game a lot, though the only thing I am a bit confused about game design wise was the lack of communication, ways to communicate with fellow Nightfarers. At the moment, you can really only ping on the map. There's no in-game voice chat. You need to rely on the party chat of your chosen platform. I was playing with some other games media folk, and we obviously used the PlayStation party chat function. And that was when I felt most synergized with my team. Like, I did play quite a lot of games without voice chat. And you can't communicate. Like, if you say, if I'm on to like, I'm trying to beat this Night Lord, and I've like tried like 5 times, and I have like knowledge about that Night Lord and its weaknesses, and like how to get out of like sticky situations during that Night Lord fight. And I'm matched up with like a couple of people that may not have tackled that Night Lord before. There is no way for me to communicate what the Night Lord does. Like, it's kind of like banging your head against a wall, because you don't really, like, it's frustrating. Like, if you spend like that 60 minutes and then you realize, oh, my teammates literally don't know anything about this boss, and they're just gonna keep getting knocked, and it just doesn't make you feel like the fight's achievable once you realize you can't give your teammates tips. So so I would recommend grabbing some friends to play this. Although I will say the matchmaking, I matchmaked from people all over the world, and I didn't get any lag or anything. It felt great. So I was really surprised about that, actually, because most multiplayer games I play, the ping is crazy if you're trying to play on a server that isn't based in Australia. Lastly, the round table hold makes a return and acts as like the base of operations for players in between expeditions. Nightfarers can train in sparring grounds, purchase gestures and relics at the shop, equip relic rights, and of course matchmake for your next expedition. A journal is also available that allows you to partake in small quest lines related to the Nightfarer you are using, and provides some weighty insight into the backgrounds of these characters. And yes, So I feel like Nightreign is not going to be for everyone. I guess in general, I feel like Elden Ring was very accessible to the less hardcore Souls-like fans, including myself. Elden Ring's the only Souls-like game I've ever beaten. and that's because it was quite forgiving compared to like Sekiro and Bloodborne and all that. And this Nightreign does feel more unforgiving because it's not like you can just mimic tear your way through the whole game. You can't summon extra people. You can't. Yeah, there's no cheating your way through this, and if you don't have good teamwork with your friends, you aren't going to be very successful in your expeditions either. It is much more encouraged to stay with your team for the whole expedition. Do not go off solo, and yeah, you kind of just need to be very synergized in the way that you approach certain situations. But that's, I guess, the gist of it. Any questions?
All right, so I got two that popped to mind. If you're a single player gamer, you loved Elden Ring, you don't have any friends that you're going to be able to get together to go play this, but you're hoping to just jump in with randoms and hope that you have a good time. Sounds to me you wouldn't really recommend it to someone that's maybe doing that, just because it's hard to synergize without that sort of communication.
I think I would still recommend it. It is hard because it like depends who you're matched with. I guess even if you aren't matched with the most skillful players, the amount of information you get each expedition you go on is valuable anyway. Like there is a boss that I've died to like 7 times and I still haven't beaten him yet, but I think in like the 5th time attempt, I learned that there were orbs scattered on the ground that alleviated some status ailment that the boss afflicts, which I didn't know until the 5th time I tried beating him. So it would still be worth it. I will say there is solo play, and there is difficulty scaling with that too. So I don't know if I could recommend buying this for a solo experience though, unless you really love Elden Ring and you really love Souls games, only because this game is designed around 3 players in mind. It's good that it can be played solo, but like yeah, it's a multiplayer game at its core. So I'm not trying to scare anyone away from matchmaking because like I had some very good games with matchmaking, although it's hard to gauge how that's going to be with the general public. Although I could see, especially early on in its like life, that hardcore Souls-like fans will be buying this like day one, not so much the general public. I mean, the general public might, but I don't think. I don't know. It's hard. I don't know. This game is for everyone, but there's a big difficulty curve or spike compared to like Elden Ring itself. So yeah.
Just touching on the solo aspect before I ask my other question. So with the solo, is that just literally you, or do you have AI companions with the other two
just you.
characters? Just you. Okay.
Yeah. So
the other question.
Sorry, I'm pretty sure with the solo, bosses have less health, and you gain more runes for defeating enemies. obviously, because when you're in a group of three, there's like three people gathering runes for the group rather than so like yeah, it
Tries to
they've
balance.
they've balanced it well for like predominantly being a multiplayer game.
All right, can play solo. Wouldn't recommend it. Not designed for it. That's what we've come from that.
Correct.
All right. The gameplay loop, because the way you described it, I'm almost getting like roguelike type aspects to an expedition as just another run, basically, kind of like blueprints. Did you find yourself sort of getting sick of the sort of loop, or did you find yourself completely enamored by it the entire time?
Enamored. I was surprisingly not sick of it at all. Like it
Okay.
it like the map itself, like each key location, it's randomized every time. Like there's not churches in the same spot every single time. Um and you get dropped off at different corners of the map. I don't know. I don't maybe it's because like I don't know. It's kind of like crack. Like you not that I know, but like it it's just you just want to keep playing over and over again. Like even if you like eat shit um against the Night Lord, like you've spent an hour just to die within like 5 minutes facing the Night Lord. You don't get like too frustrated about dying. You just want to get back into it. It's
You want your next hit.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. Not
Berto, do you have any
literally.
questions?
No, not really. I don't think this game's for me. I think I loved Elden Ring. I named it in my favorite games of all time. That's how much I loved it. But yeah, even just quickly looking at to see if they had a steelbook, and it does. And I'm looking at the steelbook, and I'm like, I don't think I'm ever even gonna touch this one compared to all the other steelbooks that I buy. It's just not for me. It's a multiplayer game at the end of the day, and
Yeah.
yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
If for people that love it, that's great.
It it is yeah. It is definitely not gonna be for everyone, especially if you don't have an hour to set aside. Because you can't really pause it during your expedition either. Like it's the Ring of Fire is coming no matter what. It's not waiting for you to go get a drink from the kitchen.
Well, it's like all from software games you can't pause, except
No.
for I think there's one that you can, but I forget which one you can now.
But yeah, I can see it not being for you only because like you basically need to be glued to the TV for the whole expedition. So
Yeah, I'd be a terrible team member. It's like, can you make it? Yeah, I'll be there soon. And then 2 hours later, I'm there. So,
All right,
but
Brad.
yeah.
What score did you give Elden Ring Nightreign, the crack game?
9 out of 10. Elden Ring Nightreign takes the best elements of Elden Ring and applies an engrossing core gameplay loop that will have Nightfarers in a trance. Everything is better with friends, and this makes Elden Ring Nightreign the best multiplayer game of the year.
Alrighty, thanks for that, Brad. I'm probably the same with Birdo. I'm so behind in the Soulsborne game. I haven't even touched Elden Ring. It's in my backlog at some stage, so I'll probably hit that before I decide to jump into anything like this.
Good idea.
I am going to talk about a game I recently reviewed now. Nice Day for Fishing. If no one knows what this is, it is basically old school pixel based fantasy RPG type game where basically you play as an NPC fisherman. That's the whole context of it. So I hadn't actually heard of this YouTube channel beforehand. They're called Viva La Dirt League. It's Epic NPC Man. So it's a series where basically they have this own world. It's a MMO RPG called Skycraft, and they do live action sketch videos, sort of taking digs at the sort of illogical things that happen in video games and just sort of breaking the fourth wall and making fun of it and everything. I've watched a bunch of this stuff now, and it's quite funny, and I think fans that really enjoy that sort of sense of humor will find a lot with this one. But in general, nice day for fishing. As I said, it's a 2D adventure, pixel-based game. You play as a fisherman NPC called Balin. The game starts, you're in Skycraft, the fictional MMORPG, and there's a bunch of avatars of fictional players running around. And then for whatever reason, all the players just vanish. They sort of don't really explain why that is. Maybe the servers dropped out within the lore of the game. We're not quite sure. But basically, the big evil Dark Lord, I'm going to completely butcher this name. It's like Hazulden, I think is how you pronounce it. It's this big tentacle octopus guy. He breaks out of his little thing that he usually is stopped by the adventurers, the actual real world players, but because they're all gone, he comes out and takes down the entire village of Honeywood, which is where your character lives, destroys that, and he's just set free amongst the world. So it's up to you as this NPC fisherman who only says 3 lines to go through the game and try to save the world. Now, what I mean by say 3 lines is whenever you're having text dialogue with people, you say your text options are either morning, nice day for fishing, ain't it, and hoo-ha. That's it. That's all he says. But all the characters in game make it seem like they're having a genuine conversation with him. It's like a running gag. So he's an NPC. He doesn't have very many voice lines because he's not a character that you would go and speak to that often. Just sort of picture that random character in like a Skyrim or something that will just voice off maybe 2-3 voice lines, and that's all they have. That's who you're playing as. So basically, he just becomes the adventurer. It leans into the whole fantasy trope of he's an unlikely hero, rises to the top to take down the villain and everything. Villain itself, he does not get much screen time at all, and I am unsure if he's sort of explained a little bit more in the real life YouTube series that they do. But he's just sort of appears collectively maybe 10 minutes or so. And I didn't really know his motivations as to why he wanted to attack everything and just destroy the world. It's just sort of evil for evil's sake. So he's a bit one-dimensional in that aspect. But the cast itself is actually quite charming. Like I said, for a text-based adventure for the most part, like you do have some voice lines from the real-world sketch individuals doing voice lines for the characters they play in the real-life sketches that they do. But there's not a ton of them. So most of it is just a lot of text reading. But they are quite charming. You've got a couple of characters. There's a blacksmith that he's just sort of programmed to constantly lose his hammer. So every time you got to go and get a piece of armor from him, he's like, oh, I've lost my hammer again. And he always loses it in the same well. So you have to go over, get the hammer out, and they can bring it back. And it's like a constant running joke. Then you've got another character who's a merchant, and his wife just hates him. So whenever you're talking to him, the wife is just berating him of how useless he is the entire time. So, and I know how that feels. So it's actually it's quite funny and charming. I do like that aspect of it. And like I said, they lean into the fourth wall breaking and just sort of taking the piss out of what games do and some of the dumb things that they do. I wouldn't be surprised if they sort of poke fun to the fact that you're walking through walls, very tight crevices slowly at some stage. But I think the biggest issue, and I think this is the major drawback for me with this, was the repetitive mission structure. So I think it's probably about 12 to 15 hours to reach end credits with this. There's very little in terms of side quests. When you're rebuilding the town of Honeywood that I was talking about, you get some additional quests from the mayor. That's how you get a lot of your coins, so that way you can buy better items. So I do encourage doing those. But almost every single mission, aside from the boss encounters, there's probably about 5-6 of those total, are just fetch quests. And I do understand what they have tried to do. They're sort of taking the piss out of fetch quests, stating how just boring they can be. But I'm not sure if anyone played the Deadpool game back on like PS3. Deadpool would break the fourth wall and point out like, this is a fetch quest, this is an escort quest. And the problem would be that he'd then make you do them. So they take the piss out of something that's boring apparently, but then make you do it. And I feel like that was the biggest issue I had here, is that there are a few references that they're like, oh, fetch quests are boring. Oh, you got another fetch quest. These sort of things. And it just felt like every mission was just like, okay, I got to get 3 of these fish, which are on one side of the map. Now I got to go find this item that's now over here. I'd go turn it all in. Now I got to get 2 other fish that are maybe here. And then the map itself is not overly huge. Like I said, it's just 2D. You've got a coastal area, a lake, the town, a forest, and then some mines. And maybe to get from one end to the other end, it's maybe 5 minutes max. But you're just constantly going back and forwards doing the fishing. And whilst I'll get to the fishing mechanic, I actually do quite like it. I just found myself exhausted in terms of the mission structure. Like I was just not connecting with it at all. And I think that's just the biggest drawback I had of it. There's a lot of good things in this game, but the actual playing of it, and I stated in my review, I'm like, poking fun at poor mission design is one thing, but if you then get to the point where you're replicating that, it's still poor mission design, even if you are taking the piss a little bit. So that's probably my biggest issue with it. I just wanted to do something different. You know what I mean? I did every time I felt like I was getting another mission. And the fact that it went so long, I feel like if the game went maybe a half of the time that it went for, I probably wouldn't have such a big issue with it. And I think the score would have been better in the end. But for 12, 15 hours, I was just waiting to do something a little bit different. That's all. But in terms of the fishing, so I seem to play a lot of underwater games. I was thinking about that when I was playing this. I've reviewed Dave the Diver, Under the Waves. I'm like, when it comes to fish, I'm your boy. So basically, the fishing mechanic ends up making it almost to your like random encounters that you would get in like a Pokemon game or just a sort of Final Fantasy type thing, where you connect your hook up with the enemies and you start mashing the X button to deliver damage. And obviously, if you get their health bar down, you reel them up, you make the catch. Very basic at the start. You can only move your hook up and down. There is a bunch of different tiers. You end up getting longer lines, more powerful lines, which allow you to go deeper into the water to get more exotic fish, which I will touch on. But yeah, once they give you the ability to have sort of 360 motion of where you're controlling the hook, and really battling against some of the tougher, rarer fish that they do damage in terms of like you'll have a bleeding effect, or maybe they've shocked you and you can't actually now parry or block any of the attacks that the fish are doing. The later encounters are super challenging. I actually really love them. But it was like a mechanic that took time to get to the point where I enjoyed it. So the parrying and the blocking, like you have to be on the ball with this. I was using a charm that allowed you to sort of get an indicator when you should be pressing it. You don't have to use that. I just wanted to make it slightly more easier for myself because I was getting absolutely brutalized in terms of my blocking. But yeah, some of them was very challenging. Got to know when to use your potions to make yourself a little bit stronger to get through some of the boss encounters as well. And yeah, I collected every single fish. The trophy didn't pop for me for doing that. I'm unsure why, but I did do them all, which allows you to unlock additional spells and everything that you can do. So like I said, it really leads into the sort of old school RPG fantasy type game. So there's some light platforming as well in terms of the gameplay, but when I say light, I mean like there's a few areas that you jump and that's about it. The world building itself, like I said, you rebuild the village. Again, very basic. You just sort of collect some resources, which you end up just picking up along the way because you find them in the underwater areas. So you try to pick them up. They do have some hidden treasures as well in the underwater, where it will be sort of some currents going. So you have to sort of make sure that you can get your hook into the current, sort of dodge it around. So it is a little bit of a puzzle solving nature in that, which were fun. But yeah, the main mechanic of the fishing, I did really enjoy. I just wish that the mission structure surrounding that was just a little bit more interesting come the rolling of the credits. In terms of, as I said, the humor, it's quite funny. I like the charming characters throughout. And visually, I do think that the art style is quite lovely. Like it's, as you would, a pixel art style, but it's quite vibrant. Like I said, you're visiting these same 4 or 5 areas quite often. So I kind of wish there was more, even locations just to visit would have been a little bit better. And like I said, there are different sort of tiers in terms of the underwater. So at one point you get down to the volcanic level and there's some crazy fish designs in that. There's some fish that just look like guns. Like one looks like a shotgun, one looks like a pistol. And I love some of that design. I just wish there was a little bit more of it to look at. That's all, just due to the lack of areas you actually explore. In terms of the soundtrack, once again, I really enjoyed it. It's got the main town theme sort of sounds like your typical sort of tavern in a fantasy game with the flutes going and everything. It's really quite relaxing, cozy, really. But once again, it just sort of leans into the same thing where you go to the same 4 or 5 areas, so you hear the same 4 or 5 tracks over and over. They do have a battle theme, which really is quite, it emphasizes the thrilling nature of these chaotic battles that I was talking about. And in the boss encounters, they're actually quite fun as well because of each one has a different phase, and then they become even stronger and they attacking you more often. So you have to block and parry even more on the ball with that. So there is some challenge there as well. Talking back to the voice lines I was talking before, I do kind of wish there was more here. Like the fact you've got a YouTube sketch comedy group collaborating to make this game. I just kind of wish that they had voiced more of the lines. So it's more like some of the iconic like little quips that they do from the series is included. So it's like one, he's a sorcerer, he's kind of an asshole, and whenever he goes to leave the area, he'll just leave you behind and yell, "Portal away!" And he'll just literally just vanish. But he says it like 50 times and doesn't say anything else throughout the game. And I just kind of, I'm like, it would have been so much, not only funnier, but I think more charming if the characters had been voiced along the way. But yeah, who knows why they couldn't get around to doing that or anything. But I still think it is quite charming in terms of the cast of characters, and like I said, some nice visuals, and I do really like the fishing mechanic. I was just, come the end of it, I was very exhausted in terms of the mission structure. It just feels a little shallow in that end, and I just wish they had done a little bit different in terms of how you were doing these missions, or at least just cut the runtime in general. I think would have been so beneficial to it. So score-wise, I gave it a 6, which is still classified as a good game. I definitely don't think it's a bad one. But yeah, I just think the length, it just needed something to just add a little bit of spark to some of the missions, I think. Does anyone have any questions about this one?
Who would you say this game is for? Like, is there any type of comparison you could make to a similar game?
It's a good question. I think for the most part, I think like they have like 7 million followers, subscribers, or whatever you want to call them on YouTube. So I'm going to guess, and I mentioned it in the review, that like I found myself chuckling at some of the jokes in the game, and I wouldn't be surprised if there was a bunch that went over my head just because I didn't understand the references and everything, because I've only yeah, that's what I mean. So I think if you're a fan of them, like it's that same brand of comedy, so I think you're really going to enjoy it. In terms of there's some coziness to it, but I actually found it quite challenging at times. So it's hard to recommend to someone who's just looking for a cozy fishing game, because like some of the battles do get quite challenging, I feel. And like there's a leveling system as well, which got to the point where I just sort of was leveling very slowly. So when you catch fish, you get some XP and you get some coin and you can go sell them and everything like that. But yeah, it's challenging. I guess if you're into these sort of more pixel fantasy type adventures, you could check it out just because it is something different. Like I will say that it's definitely unique. So it is hard to sell it, but I guess if this is your sort of brand of humor, or if you just like something that tries to lean into comedy a little bit more and maybe take the piss out of video games and some of the dumb things our medium does, then I guess this is probably up your alley. Any other questions, Berto?
Nah, too many red flags for me to like this game. Self-referencing things, breaking the fourth wall, like I'm not a huge fan of those already. And just the way that you've described it to be quite good, although it sounds more mediocre than good to me, I'm not vibing, man. Like, pixel art, great. I love it. We all love it. Us three are huge fanatics of pixel art. But repeated lines, very small or similar type levels, not much range, same voices, reused, ad nauseum. Like, not feeling the vibe, man.
Yeah, as I said, like come the end of it, I was glad to be over and done with it, just because I think it stayed around too long. I still stand by that. I don't think it's a bad game. Like I think it is good, and
No, no
I
doubt.
stand. I think the 6 is it. I think it is the lowest score I've given on the website so far. But yeah, 6 is still. I think fans of them will probably absolutely love it, and I could see them absolutely
Yeah.
hitting with a comedy. But yeah, the mission structure was just a little bit too shallow for me.
I don't have
Well,
time
that
for
basically,
6s.
yeah, that's
the
what I
problem.
mean. These days, it's so
Yeah.
hard to find
It's
time
so
in
hard to
general.
fit something in.
Yeah, so 6 out of 10 for that, and Brad gave Elden Ring Nightreign a 9 out of 10. You can read both of those over at next-play.com.au. Brad, it's all the news. Take it away.
Speaking of 6s, we're going to talk about the Grand Theft Auto 6. We actually
We've been working on
haven't...
that segue.
Yeah.
6 weeks.
That's why I put your review second, Jamie.
Yeah.
That's nice work.
Yeah, we have not spoken about Grand Theft Auto 6 at all on the podcast, like, since all the news broke, because the last episode was all about the Nintendo Switch 2. So, we do have a release date, which is May 26th, 2026, just under a year away now. And we also got a really nice snazzy trailer, really showcasing what we can expect from the world of GTA 6. I'd also like to point out that if you go to the Grand Theft Auto 6 website, there is heaps of information about different characters, all the information you need to know about Grand Theft Auto 6. I didn't read too much into it because I'll forget it by next year anyway, so what's the point? But overall, what we're gonna do a vibe check. How do you feel about Grand Theft Auto 6? Well, first of all, I don't think any of us are surprised that it was actually delayed into next year. But what do we think overall? Berto, I don't think you've said anything for the whole podcast, so let's jump to you first.
All I've said is negative things. Hey,
Yeah.
I'm not vibing. I don't like it. It's not for me.
Yeah.
No, I'm happy, just sitting back, relaxing. It's so impressive. It's so impressive. It is 10 years worth of bank all put back in here because they know they're going to make the money back anyway. I think, a lot of people are talking about the details in it and how it's running on is it a base PS5?
Yeah, it was. It wasn't even on the Pro.
On the Pro, yep. So, my vibe towards it is I was excited before. I'm more excited now. I've always loved Grand Theft Auto. I've loved every single one of them, even the top-down ones because I'm old. But they were kind of like one and done kind of things, But when it came to the evolution of the 3D model, it was so much better. And the pedigree of Rockstar, I understand that one of the owners or one of the founders has left, one of the brothers, the Hauser brothers, one of them's only there. But yeah, just everything looks good. It looks like it's setting the mood. It looks like it's setting an energy, a sort of like, modern tale of whatever it is. The characters are awesome. From what I've seen, they're not. Yeah, it just looks like Grand Theft Auto evolved.
It I guess it was nice to get like this slice of what we can expect, and honestly, yeah, what's another year to wait? Like, we've already waited a long time. It's like it's not like it's been continuously delayed. It's just been a really long development cycle for this game. And I honestly think it will be worth the wait too. It's this is going to be the game of the generation. You can tell just from
Yeah.
the 2-minute trailer that we got. It's gonna break records, I think. What about you, Jamie? How do you feel about GTA 6?
So my first GTA was GTA 4, which is good. Hey, cousin. That's all I remember from that game. It's just I did like Nico Bellic as well. GTA 5 was a lot of fun. I don't have that super nostalgic attachment to GTA. I enjoy them. I thought, like I said, 5 was a lot of fun, and I'll probably end up playing this one at some point. I wouldn't say my vibe is completely like it's max or anything. I have always said, I've been pretty open on the podcast, I prefer Red Dead Redemption in terms of what Rockstar do. But I think this looks super impressive. If you look back to the like initial trailers for GTA 5, even things that looked like cutscenes were in game. So if that makes a sort of sense to how good this game's going to look, most of the scenes that we probably saw in that trailer was straight up from the game. So if you just think about it in terms of how detailed some of those shots are, like just I think it was one of the shots at the beach, the amount of planes and helicopters and shit going on in the background, and there's still all the stuff happening in the water. I don't know how it's running, and it's going to be super impressive. And like I said, I kind of agree with what you said. It probably will end up being the game of generation, and I think everyone will probably own a copy.
We'll wait and see, I guess. I'm sure we'll get like a big in-depth thing later in the year. Maybe probably closer to the Game Awards. I don't think we'll see anything extra for Summer Game Fest, only because we really only just got that trailer. I doubt they're going to dump more on us right now. However, last night, Nintendo has announced the release date for the upcoming Pokemon title, Pokemon Legends ZA. The game will be released on Nintendo Switch and Switch 2 on October 16th, 2025. And we won't have long to wait for another look at the game, as they've also announced a Pokemon Presents on July 22nd. They have not confirmed what will be in the Pokemon Presents, but it would be silly not to include their upcoming title in that. Are you guys still keen for Pokemon Legends ZA? Jamie?
I am, yes. I think from memory, I think that's like a week or two after Donkey Kong comes out. I think. So I think that's very smart to just wait, let that get out of the way, and then focus
True.
more on Pokemon coming out. I am keen for it. I will be playing on a standard Nintendo Switch, so I am interested to see how it runs differently in comparison to a Switch 2, just because I don't think I'll have the console by then. I think it's going to be a bunch of fun. I keep randomly getting like I keep playing games and I'll just randomly have a nostalgic moment to Pokemon and go, man, I'm really keen to play a Pokemon game because it feels like it's been
Yeah.
so long.
Yeah.
And like I do Pokemon Go, I do Pokemon Sleep, I do all these random things on my app, like trying to get a Pokemon fix, but it's just not the same as the actual games. And I loved Arceus, so I really hope this one runs well on my Nintendo Switch.
I was not gonna call out the Arceus.
Yeah, I reckon.
I call
I'm
it
like, that's not how
Arceus
you say
because
it.
like no, a lot of people do say Arceus though, but like I
Do
don't
they?
know. Arce yeah, well Jamie just said it.
No. But I thought he was just saying it for fun. I thought he's mentioned it
no.
before
No,
as
that's
Arceus.
how I've always said it. Yeah, I've heard
No.
people say it the other way though, but most of these
You
Pokemon
mean the
things,
right
like,
way?
well, Arceus,
Arceus, yeah.
don't change who I am. All right.
Yeah. We would never ask you to change who you are, Jamie.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm keen for Pokemon Star.
Cool. Battery. What about
Yeah,
you?
I mean, you two love them. You two are the Pokemon fans in there. I'm more looking forward to a Pokemon adventure of like not of the Legends franchise that they're spin-off that they're creating. I'm more of the mainline one. That's what I've collected them all, funnily enough. And that's what I want to see more than this one. However, everybody has told me that the Legends franchise plays much differently, and I think I would enjoy it a lot more because it's a little bit more action oriented.
Feels fresh.
So, yeah. I don't know. I mean, I am obviously getting a Switch too, so we'll see. We'll see.
Mm. And even like this iteration of Pokemon Legends looks even more action orientated than Arceus was. So, um, yeah, gone are the days of turn-based combat in Pokemon. Well, in the Legends series,
Sad.
anyway.
Sad.
I
Yeah.
don't mind it. I like that they're like exploring different ideas within the Pokemon franchise. Obviously, I love the traditional turn-based battle system of the Pokemon games and hope that they don't deviate too far from it, because we kind of saw what that did to Final Fantasy when they deviated from that. I feel like
Yep.
each mainline game, apart from the remake, it's gotten less popularity. But yeah, it with Clair Obscure, it seems like people are a bit turning their heads into a positive direction when it comes to turn-based combat now. Do you guys think with the Pokemon Presents, will they announce any other additional Pokemon games? Or do you think it's all solely for the ZA?
I think it will be kind of like how they normally do. You know, they do that sort of sizzle reel of all the different apps and then the things coming out. Probably just random
Yeah.
things that are happening around there. I'm unsure if Go Fest is also happening later this year, so they might talk about something like that. In terms of Zar, I'm assuming that they'll probably announce some of the additional megas that we're going to get. I did notice, I can't recall off the top of my head what Pokemon were on the key art slash front cover that don't have megas, but there was a few. So I wouldn't be surprised if some of the ones that are on that cover will get random megas announced. I don't think they'll reveal any sort of different versions of like the third evolution of the starters. I think they'll wait until after release, which is what they did with the previous games. If they are doing a sort of, what would you say, region specific version of the final evolutions, as they did in Hisui, I think it was called. But yeah, my gut feeling says we'll get maybe 2-3 different megas announced during the Pokemon Presents.
I think we'll definitely get a console announcement for it, like they usually do with Pokemon titles. Arceus didn't have one, but maybe that's because Sword and Shield, Scarlet and Violet were coming out later that year too. So who knows? This could be the first Switch 2 variant Pokemon variant console of the Switch 2. So should
It's
be
smart, yeah.
yeah. Should be interesting to see. What about you, Berto?
Yeah, just back to my point. I hope it ends with like a little teaser of what's to come. Obviously, ZA or whatever you call it, ZA. I hate saying ZA now that I just said it out loud. I'll never say it again.
Do it.
But I think they'll do what they usually do, and I hope it ends on like a beyond the ZA launch. This is what you could look forward to. And it could be like 1 minute, 1 second thing, and you know the name might pop up. That'll be enough to keep everyone a little bit motivated.
Elder
I don't know.
Scrolls, the next Elder Scroll game. They just do like a little trailer, the logo.
Probably. I mean, they have the full attention at this point, you know. So
I don't think they'll do that. They don't like creating hype for something past what hasn't come out yet. Like they don't want to imagine if they like announce like Pokemon Gold and Silver remake 2026, and then everyone would kind of just forget about Pokemon Legends CA. So yeah,
I love that though.
I can't see them announcing any other Pokemon game in this Pokemon Presents. If they do, I think they'll... Actually, I just don't think they will announce a Pokemon game until next year.
It makes sense. Yeah, focus. They'll probably start showing the game running on a Switch too. That will probably be some of the things, because I think we've only seen, from memory, Switch gameplay. So they'll probably just make it, hey, look how good it looks now, running on a Switch too, and all the Pokemon fans will love it. And
This is how it's meant to look.
This is what it looks like when it runs.
Speaking of exciting things, Frosty Game Fest is being broadcast next week on June 8 and will feature more than 50 games made by Australian and New Zealand studios. The broadcast, now part of the Summer Game Fest lineup, is headed by industry professionals Amy Potter, Kieran Fabruge, Lucy Mutimer, and Pritika Sachdev in partnership with Screen Australia. This is not to be missed. So I have been following Frosty Game Fest since they first announced it. I think it was back in October, maybe September last year. This has gotten huge. They only just announced that they are part of the official Summer Game Fest broadcast lineup, which is a massive achievement for like their first year. It's exciting, and like this really does it will put like some Australian game devs in a more global platform. Anyone internationally keeping up with Summer Game Fest will probably tune into this next week, so it's very exciting. Congrats to the people who are working on it, because I know I've seen their posts on Blue Sky and X that they have been working very hard to make this happen, and hard work pays off. So I am very excited to watch this next week. Jamie, how important are projects like these, particularly ones backed by Screen Australia too, to give this global platform to local developers?
Oh, ridiculously important. I still remember, you can read the article up on NextPlay, when I interviewed some local SA devs and asking just about how, whilst there are so many incentives and little grants all available, it takes a lot of work to get these. And even then, like, some of the tax breaks are so minuscule, it ends up being that people have to work all other jobs whilst they're still developing the game just to be able to make ends meet. So something like this is vital. Like, this is ridiculously going to benefit so many studios, and I think that's fantastic. We saw last year at PAX just how many indie devs from Oz and New Zealand were all there, and that's probably just a small slither of the amount of talented people actually working on these things. So to get more than 50 games to a big audience like that, like I was tuned into the Day of the Devs, that sort of thing, around Summer Games Fest. I'll definitely be watching. So I'm looking forward to it. It's great news.
Mm-hmm. Berto, what about you? Got any thoughts on this?
It's definitely needed. I think NextPlay team are very passionate about indie games. I think it's great that it is backed by, what is it, a government entity?
Yeah.
So that in itself is good. 50 games, like I tend to watch some of the indie stuff. Sometimes it's just too much for me. However, like I try to think a lot about like blueprints to a degree. Like you only really need one indie game to break through to really make a name for itself, right? So, who knows if that one in the 50s is there to kind of like break through into the mainstream. But it is very important. It is needed to be kept alive, because the Australian scene it's pretty quiet, and it involves a lot of commitment that the government funding doesn't really offer.
There's a lot. I wouldn't say it's quiet. I feel like it's very hard to get your name out there, and platforms like these are are hard to come by, so it is really important. And honestly, it's hard to keep up sometimes. So I'm kind of excited to see these 50 games in however long this broadcast is going to be. It's going to be release date announcements, game announcements, other announcements. It's just, yeah, I'm keen for the local flavor. That's for sure. On the topic of Summer Game Fest, we are going to throw out some predictions or announcements we want to hear. So it's kicking off next week. Let's go around one at a time. 3 predictions. Jamie, you're first.
Tomb Raider's
Just
come
3.
back.
Just 3.
Just 3.
Just 3, no more.
And then one honorable mention. I think we will finally see Tomb Raider come back. You know, they've been releasing a bunch of these remastered collections of all the classic games, trying to slowly build a little bit of hype. We had the animated series come out as well. I think it's just a perfect time to bring her back again. She's been on ice since, was it Shadow of the Tomb Raider? I think we need it back. I think we saw how good Indiana Jones was received. People love the treasure hunting vibe, and we don't have Nathan Drake around anymore. So I think Lara come back, fill that void. I think all signs point to it will be referenced at some stage.
That's actually a good prediction.
Thank you. I try my best.
I went with not a safe route because we still don't know what's happening with this game. I think The Wolf Among Us 2 will get a November release date.
Please.
Yes, please. For the love of God.
Just don't cancel it. Just don't
No.
cancel it. Just release
No.
it.
How long has it been now?
Ages.
20 years.
Forever.
It's a long time.
Yeah.
Radio silence is not giving me confidence.
Berto, what's your first prediction?
I'm talking about forever and shaking my head in the dismay of Wolf Among Us. Half-Life 3's coming back. I can tell you that much is true.
You heard it here first.
You heard it here, yeah. If it's not this year, it'll never happen. I mean, I say that every year, but not on
I
public
just
record.
think it's never gonna happen, to be honest.
Yeah, it's preposterous.
That
All of mine
ship
are
sailed.
Yeah, I'll go from ridiculous to safe as we keep going.
How long's it been since Half-Life 2? 20 years.
They did Alex.
Yeah,
that was all
probably.
Yeah, they haven't even bothered to port Alex to PSVR 2 or anything yet either. So, I don't know. They seem not lazy, but I feel like, yeah, they don't
like
seem
money. They're
they
too
don't
busy
seem
handling
driven.
Steam.
Yeah, they're
No.
getting their money from Steam.
Yeah, there's no return on
No
investment
incentive,
for them
yeah.
that much. Yeah.
Jamie, what's your second prediction?
All right, another game that I want back because we've heard that there's going to be a TV show, I believe, on Netflix. We have heard that there will be another game. It's at least been referenced. I think we're finally going to get BioShock back.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think they will finally reveal it. Like, what else 2K got going on? We got Borderlands coming out. They're publishing that, I believe. And then some of the sporting games. Like, what's their next big one coming out? I know last time they teased a big one, it was Civilization, which was not for me. But I think this is another sort of... It's near the end of the generation, and I think Infinite came out back on PS3 at launch. Yeah, and we've had the remastered collection on PS4, but like nothing at all for quite a while from the series, and I think it's still beloved. So I think with the different plates spinning, and it's just been a massive break in between. I would love to see it. It's more fan hoping than this, but
Who developed BioShock?
It was Irrational Games back in the day, I believe. But Ken Levine is off doing his own thing now. I know he's not there, so I'm unsure what the studio would be. But 2K's got a bunch of studios working for them, so
True.
Because they got Mafia coming out as well, which is only around the corner, I think, and Borderlands. But what's happening in the future? So I think you put the BioShock logo back up, you put some water and bubbles all around it, and people go, "Well, we're going back to Rapture," and I will lose my mind. So yeah, we'll do that one. BioShock, please.
All right. Well, my second prediction, I think I said it recently. I think we are going to get a Final Fantasy IX remake or remaster announced. Not sure which one, but I'll be all for it if that happens. Beto, your third one. Oh, sorry, second. Second one.
Second, yeah. It's all right. You stole my BioShock one, so I'm going to have to think of another one.
Great minds.
Yeah, pretty much. Although when you said Final Fantasy 9, I was like, yep, that too. So in the theme of 9, we're going to go Resident Evil. I think it's been a while since I've heard anything about Resident Evil.
That's my third one.
Stop stealing, guys. You guys stole from me because I keep predicting the future, right? That's why.
Yeah, okay.
I think the time is right to show a little bit about Resident Evil. It's been a while. What was it, Village?
No, Resident Evil 4 remake was the start of last year.
Oh, yeah, it was. Yep.
Jeez.
That was rumored a couple years before it came out. And so the rumors have been rumbling a lot about what 9 would look like. Which I think is which I think will be a continuation of 8, although 8 ended a certain way. I don't know.
It does feel like it's been a while, only because I feel like we got remake 2 and 3, and I think 7 and Village, they were all out within like 5 years, over a span of 5 years or so. It felt like for that time we had so many Resident Evil games coming out quite close to each other, and now it just feels like we haven't heard anything since.
I think it's the longest time.
Well, in recent years, yeah.
Yeah.
Wouldn't mind a remake of like Code Veronica or something too. So, but I think I'd prefer 9, maybe. Who knows? Jamie, what's your third one?
All right, so firstly, I've already made this prediction, so this is just an honorable mention, but I'm just doubling down that Devil May Cry will come back. That's why we haven't heard anything about Resident Evil, because Capcom is busy doing Devil May Cry. Me and 4 other people really want it, okay? So that's what's happening. All right, the other one, this is, once again, if you're just pulling shit out of my hat, this is what I'm doing. I've done this every year for what feels like eternity.
Here we go.
I do all the noises to my kid of just... Banjo-Kazooie needs to come back, and it's just, why hasn't it? That's what I just need to know. At the very least, someone needs to come out and just reference me in the camera and tell me why it's not happening. So yeah, I think it's perfect. I think, we got Croc to come back before Banjo-Kazooie. No offense, Croc, I do love you, but what is happening in the world today that we're not getting any Banjo-Kazooie games? I'm done.
Better share your third one, because I need to come up with another one.
I just want to make a quick complaint about Banjo. It's the same complaint that I have with Half-Life 3. The team's not the same. That's why. That's the answer, unfortunately.
I still just want to see him back. Just let me have it. Even if it's shit. I hated Nuts and Bolts. That sucked. I absolutely hated that game, but it was at least...
It'll be Nuts and Bolts too.
I almost dropped the F-bomb there. That game I actually have a disdain for. That was such... I won't open that unless he needs me to vamp longer, but I'm happy to state but Nuts and Bolts was shit.
My third one is my safest one. So I went from crazy, less crazy to safe. We're going to get Starfield on PlayStation 5. I think it's going to officially be launched, because
I could see that.
I think they're starting to, obviously, Microsoft's starting to expand. Microsoft will have their own, I think they'll have their own little show later on after Summer Game Fest, but
they usually do at the end of the month.
Yeah, they do. They do have one. Yeah.
But as you know, I think I put it in my Instagram story recently. Like the top selling games or publishers for Sony were Microsoft, was Xbox. They're making the most money off Sony's platform. So yeah, now's the time to keep going, keep that momentum going, filter that top 10, and then Sony will start scratching their head and thinking, how can we put Ghost of Tsushima on Xbox? You know, something ridiculous along those lines.
My third one is just a throwaway. I think we'll see a trailer for the Wolverine game. Probably. It's been a while.
It's been a while for that one.
That's all I've got for that. I just wanted to. You brought up Starfield coming to PS5, which made me quickly want to chat about Hellblade 2 coming to PS5 this winter, I think. Is it our winter or our summer? I don't know. I didn't really look into it, but Jamie, you're excited for that, aren't you?
I am. I think I can't remember if it was Hellblade 2 or Starfield or maybe even both. When we did our opening
both.
year predictions,
I think you did predict both. You definitely mentioned Starfield.
I borrowed Berto's magic little 8-ball that he has. I shook it up, and that's what we got. Yeah, very keen for it. As people know, if they've listened to the show previously, my adventures in Hellblade via the Fire Stick were absolutely blurry and horrible. So I look forward to trying to get the platinum again. Well, not again, but I have the first one, so I need to get the second one. There's my OCD. But yeah, I couldn't enjoy the game as much as I wanted just due to the experience I had playing via the Fire Stick. So yeah, I shared this as soon as I saw it pop up. I'm very excited.
Yeah, definitely a good surprise, and I'm glad more people will get to play it.
It says summer in Europe.
Summer.
Senua's Saga, Hellblade 2.
Okay, so it's our winter then. That's good. So it should be just around the corner.
But one thing, I was talking to someone they were like unsure if it was going to get a physical or not. I haven't seen any mention of a physical unless they've randomly mentioned it. No, I haven't, because Forza didn't come in physical.
Here, it says it's getting one possibly through limited run games.
I did see that. Yeah, that is so strange.
Okay, that's all right then.
It's good. It's just weird that they're going through limited run.
I need the physical.
Stores.
Yeah, it's strange, but
yeah,
whatever.
Yeah, I hadn't seen that, but I had that conversation with a few people because they were like, "Oh, it's just Xbox are bringing the games over, but they're mostly just digital." But I guess that's something. Like, I would like a physical. It's just a shame it's not just in the stores.
Xbox barely even bring any games to physical games anymore. To physical.
It's a weird ecosystem.
Yeah. Well, that is the news. Back to you, Jamie.
Thank you very much, Brad. Nice work. I think I remember what we do next. This is the NextPlay Game Corner. So each week, the winner of the previous week, which is probably about a month ago, will quiz the other panelists using games like trivia, name the game, and more. So, Brad, you won last time. Can't remember what you won, but you did win. You're the quiz master. So,
it was the slogans. That's what it was.
Oh, was it me hosting last time?
Yeah. Because you win all the time, Jamie. Of course it was you.
It's just this. I want Berto to win this time. You just change it up. I'm so sick of winning.
Whatever. Okay, so today we are playing Guess the Metacritic Score. I have 6 games here.
6?
Yes. So you aren't guessing the same one because someone could just say 85 and then the second person could say 86 and just like kind of cheat their way through that. So you'll do 1 game each. There's 3 rounds. And whoever gets closest to their game gets the point. All right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Do you understand? Okay.
So Metacritic's 100-point scale, right? Like it would be like
correct.
7.3, 7. All right.
No. So it'll be like 75, 76, 77, 78,
Oh
79.
yeah, same thing. I'll take the point out. Yeah.
Yeah, don't do the point. All right.
No, do the point, then you lose, and then I win. So do the point.
Well, all right, Jamie, we'll start with you. Final Fantasy IX.
Jesus. All right. Then played it, as you know. I know it's beloved, but people don't seem to talk about it as much as some of the other ones. I'll say 83.
Okay. Beto, your game is Shadow of the Tomb Raider.
That's the last one, wasn't it?
I think so. It's funny because Jamie literally just spoke about it too.
Yeah.
Yeah. This always happens.
Yeah,
Honestly.
it does.
It always gets presented in the episode. 83.
Why did you both guess 83?
It just, yeah.
All right. So Final Fantasy IX, you said 83. It's actually 94, so that's 11
Oh shit.
away.
Jesus,
And Berto, Shadow of the Tomb Raider, you said 83. It's 75, so that's 8 away. So you get the point for the first round.
Sweet as.
Jesus.
All right,
Oh, gotta come back.
Jamie, starting off with round 2, Pokemon Fire Red.
Pokemon Fire Red. 88.
Okay. Berto, your second game, Snipper Clips.
Snipper clips.
Do you,
So you
you
gave
know
the
which
Pokemon
one that
fan
is?
Pokemon, and you gave me that. Let me guess. You gave me it was that Switch game, wasn't it?
Yeah.
It's got the
co-op
paper
one.
clip,
Like,
clippy,
at
right?
launch,
From Microsoft
yeah.
Word.
Yeah, and far out.
That's just the order that it came to my mind. I wasn't plotting anything.
You felt sorry for him, so you gave him the Pokemon. 73.
All right. Jamie, Pokemon Fire Red, you said 88. It's actually 81, which is 7 away.
7 off.
Beto, Snipper Clips, you said 73. It's actually 84, which is 11 off. So, Jamie, you get the point for that round.
Damn.
We
Snipper
love
Clips is
Snipper
amazing.
It did. I'm
Get
so
out.
I'm
shocked.
buying that right now.
It did better than Pokemon Fire Red.
That's disgusting.
Oh, let's be
a
real.
gimmick.
There would have been less reviews for Fire Red back then. All right, Jamie, your last game, Cuphead.
Oh. Cuphead. God, that's tough because I really love it, but
It's a hard game.
I will go 86.
Okay. And Beto, Mass Effect Legendary Edition.
It's the remake, eh?
Yep.
Yep. 85.
Oh, this is so close, you guys. All right, I'll start with Mass Effect Legendary Edition. Beto, you said 85. It's 87, which is 2 off.
Oh, 2 off.
And Jamie, for Cuphead, you said 86. And it is 86. Well done.
Damn it.
Oh, from behind.
You
Further.
have
What are you
won
doing?
this week's round, Jamie. Well done.
Bloody Snipper Clips.
Yeah. It's a 70 game, guys. Come on. 70.
You did very
Tops.
well in that loss.
I've
in
got
the
to
last 2
look at
games.
these reviews.
Wow.
Alrighty. Well, in the clutch, he struck again. He has to find more slogans now. So Brad didn't have a chance to get a score that time, so he's still on 11. Birdo, you managed a single point. Congratulations. You're on 12. I'm just out on 15 now. I'm starting to just get a big gap on everyone else, but can't score next week, so that's one thing.
Yeah.
That's why I'm
Alright,
scoring one each time, you know?
He's just
The long
slowly
game.
climbing the ladder. Alrighty, it's the show and tell section of the show now, where we show and tell. So we'll go around a few of our either recent purchases that we've spent our money on, or just something in our collection. Berto, would you like to start us off this week?
Yeah, easy. Short and sweet because I forgot to bring my other one. I left it at work. But this one I didn't. So I picked this one up. You can see it.
Oh, nice.
Those that are listening. It's a Monster Hunter Wilds, the Steelbook edition.
Nice.
It's a lovely steelbook.
It is.
It's a great Steelbook. I took a amazing picture that you'll see on Instagram. I just got to think of a caption. I don't really have anything nice to say, but
You never do, Berto.
yeah, nah, something totally irrelevant, but that's okay. The pictures are pretty.
Pretty photos. I saw that at EB Games in the pre-owned section. I was very tempted, but it was still like $99 for the pre-owned, and I was like,
It's very expensive. Yeah.
I left it there. So for me, I've got 2 purchases I've done and a little gift that I was given. Firstly, Facebook Marketplace, going through with the goods again. We've got Injustice, the first
That
one,
looks cool.
Gods Among Us. Love. It's got a few little scratches and stuff, but for $5, I couldn't really turn it down. So we got that one. Another one I managed to score for 10, which was the Assassin's Creed Odyssey Black and Red Steelbook. And I do really love a Steelbook that has a nice inner sleeve as well. That's quite nice. The third one that I have to show was a gift from... he's been on the show a couple of times. Captain Trophy Hunter Ben from Qualbert.
I know
He
him.
sent me he sent me this lovely little thing.
Oh,
We're talking about Pokemon Scarlet Steelbook, which is like
Cool.
lovely. I don't have any Pokemon Steelbooks, so I was very happy for that to come through. So thank you very much, Ben, if you're listening / watching. Very kind of you. It's Brad next, I believe.
Yeah, certainly one thing to show this week. It's pretty epic though. It is the Alan Wake 2 limited edition 4LP box set,
Oh yeah.
aka vinyl. I ordered this ages ago. I don't even remember ordering it. I haven't opened it yet because I don't tend to open vinyl often.
Yeah, I was going to ask if you're going to actually open it.
But yeah, it was a surprise when I got the email saying it was on its way because, yeah, I forgot. That was from Laced Records. It is sold out now. Speaking of Lace Records, you still have until June 12th to pick up the Expedition 33 Monolith set, which I hope to do because at one point I was thinking about dropping a couple hundred to get that sold out collector's edition, but this is cheaper and I already have the game, so I don't need another copy of it. So good timing for that.
Yeah, because the Steelbook itself, like the Lumiere edition, I think that goes for crazy money on eBay at the moment. So I looked at the price. I was hesitant of doing it. It's like $100 shipping for that collector's edition. But the missus brought a nice, fancy, expensive jacket. So I was like, well, that gives me free rein to do whatever I want. So I ordered it anyways.
Yeah.
Are we all getting it?
Well, I am, yeah.
I more than likely will.
Yeah.
I do still need to pay off a gazillion dollars worth of Final Fantasy Magic the Gathering cards, which is out next week as well, alongside the Nintendo Switch 2. Luckily, I paid my Switch 2 off, so I don't need to worry about that. But I actually think I'm going to trade in my Xbox Series X to go towards that, because I literally play it like once a year, so it's not really worth having it just sit there, collect dust. But yeah.
Now, in terms of show and tell, there was another thing I purchased the other night. It was a box on eBay of 30 steelbooks, a bunch of some really cool looking ones. It was only $140 I spent on it. So I probably won't share that here because we don't have time to go through 30 steelbooks. But we're promoting our Instagrams. Make sure to follow JamieX66 and we'll show it off there. But that was another episode of the show. You can always support the podcast by leaving a 5-star review on wherever it is you were listening to us. And don't forget to check out next-play.com.au for the bunch of reviews that have gone up over the last couple of weeks. Nice Day for Fishing and Elden Ring all live for you right now. You can also check out the news and follow us on socials at NextPlayAAU. And if you're watching us on YouTube, hello. Make sure to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, comment down below, and watch every single walkthrough video Brad has done. He will love that. I have been your host, Jamie. I almost forgot my own name for a second. You can follow me, as I said, on Instagram, JamieX66. And joining me today has been Brad.
You can follow me everywhere at JamieX66.
Thank you. Yeah, it's a very similar name to mine, that one. Did you want to drop your real handle or are you just going to leave it?
Oh, they know what it is.
Jamie X66.
Yes.
All right,
yes.
Berto, we already know yours is Jamie X66.
On Instagram.
On Instagram.
All right. You can drop your real handle if you want, Berto.
Me?
Yeah.
I don't mind. Just find me on Instagram as pause_gamer. We will be spamming all of Jamie X66's 30 steelbooks for $166 or whatever it was.
Plus, I've heard he's got a Monster Hunter photo that he's going to do at some point, so you might as well go follow him. So thank you all very much for listening. We'll hopefully see you next week.
Bye.